The chief of the Maine Capitol Police has resigned 2 months after he was arrested following an altercation at a pub in Hallowell. Matthew Clancy was placed on paid administrative leave in August. The Maine Department of Public Safety said Clancy resigned on October 8th. Lieutenant Stephen Trahan will remain in his current leadership role pending the next steps in the process. Clancy was charged with assault, refusing to submit to arrest, and disorderly conduct in connection with the incident in August when he was accused of assaulting a police officer who responded to the scene. The head of security told our media partner WMTW that Clancy was taking pictures of people inside the pub, which led to the fight.